Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Madmen with a Box. Joining me, as always, of course, is Chris.
The beep of all the meeps. I'm here.
The beep of all the meeps. And if you look right down there, it is the Great Wizard, the 15th Landry. All right, together now. It's so cute that you do that in spirit.
I don't have one.
Today, we are going to be going over like bare minimum Doctor Who news, nothing really, before we get into our review of the first 60th anniversary special, The Star Beast. But yeah, before that, let's just go ahead. No, Maranya, there's no Beep the Meat plushie yet. Not yet.
They actually revealed that they just didn't bother making any because they didn't think anyone would get any. I'm like, are you crazy? I would have bought multiple in a heartbeat.
I really don't get it.
I don't. I mean, I'm not a toy person, so
yeah, neither am I. Like, obviously,
but it would made an exception.
Yeah,
one time.
So weird that they never bothered to capitalize like merchandising.
So anyway, bare minimum news before we get into our review. First is that An Adventure Through Time and Space, the lovely biopic talking about the creation of Doctor Who all throughout Hartnell's years. It's come out again for, of course, the 60th anniversary. But this time, it is not William Hartnell looking at a Matt Smith in the distance. No, it is Ncuti Gatwa. It's been updated, which means Mark Gatiss is technically the first writer for the 15th Doctor, the King.
No, he's the first writer for Ncuti Gatwa, the actor.
Shut up. That's a way to look at it. But if you think about it, because Ncuti, he said that somehow, I shouldn't tell people this, but somehow I've filmed a scene with very first Doctor, William Hartnell. And I guess this is how I meant it.
Technically, yeah, this is technically how it worked. I don't think we guessed that it was just a re-edit of An Adventure in Time and Space, which they also had to edit out the Unearthly Child stuff because of the whole rights issues.
Why is that? Oh, that's horrible. Oh my God.
Apparently that some of that stuff has been cut out.
Okay, did they release this on Blu-ray, and can I buy it?
No, I think it's just on iPlayer, I believe, or BBC 4. It's on one of them.
An Adventure Through Time and Space, the first one, you absolutely
can get that. Yeah,
but
I just want the original. I want it uncut. I don't mind that he's in it. I just don't want to lose the material that they've had to edit out because it's brilliant as it was. You
could probably find a copy of the first release.
Yeah, I need to find that.
But yeah, no, this is cool. I'm glad that they did this. It feels right. It's very right.
We are in a space here with this that is exactly something I don't like about how we as fans interface with Doctor Who in this era. You know, when I was growing up, the Doctor's just I'm sure there was news out there, but it wasn't prevalent. So Doctor Regenerated is like, what? Just, oh my God, into this person? What's happening? We are literally just getting our first episode of someone else, even though he's, back. I don't want to know what's coming. I don't want to know all of this stuff. And I know I'm saying that as somebody who's on a podcast talking about news, and I've accepted that because I like you guys. I usually don't find out news till I hear it from you guys. But outside of this, I try to interface with this as little as possible because I think it damages our immersion to a degree. Like, we're sitting here going, well, I know David Tennant will be gone again on day X. What if we didn't know? What if he could be here for 2 years? We didn't know. We really shouldn't. We shouldn't know this yet.
I will agree. I will agree to a certain extent. I do think it's weird that we have yet to actually see Ncuti as the Doctor, and we've already seen him almost too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've seen him in like two don't know the concept yet scenes for the 60th anniversary trailers. We've seen him in this. We've seen him stuff for his upcoming Christmas special. We're seeing stuff for his second season before the first one even comes out. I think it's such. I feel like it could possibly be because it's just this day and age now of just the internet. We have access to almost everything.
If you didn't do it, people wouldn't watch. You have to do it. The studios have to do it because people demand it. But it's one of those cases where people, I think, do not know they're asking for something that actually hurts them. Everyone wants to know because they're excited. So they demand the information. If they don't get the information, they don't get excited. But having lived in both times, pre-internet Doctor Who fan, after internet Doctor Who fan, it's definitely a loss. You lose a degree of excitement and unknown of like, is the Doctor about to die? Are we about to get a new Doctor? No, I know we're not because I haven't cast him. We'd have news. Again, they did have news out there back then, but it was so much harder to access as a fan.
Especially as an American.
At the age of 13, watching Doctor Who, how was I going to know unless I found the right issue of TV Guide, the right week that it was out on the right, and just happened to pick it up and find the right article. And it happened to be in there, which was unlikely. I just wasn't going to know.
Yeah.
Now we know everything. Too much.
I feel like seeing behind the scenes stuff, that's fine because obviously, they want to drum up hype. But actually seeing the 15th Doctor in trailers and stuff is jarring because we have, before the specials, we haven't even seen the 14th Doctor yet, probably until now. And we're already seeing stuff with the 15th. And I feel like that stuff could have they didn't have to put that in there. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's more of it to drum up hype for this new series.
And to play devil's advocate against my own opinion here for a minute, we're in a deficit, right? We're in a fandom deficit after the last era. So they're like, do whatever we have to do to get people back on this train. So I do understand it. I just think we're losing something like valuable.
And a lot of what Chibnall did was not tell anybody anything. There was no news. That's the real difference. There was no news during Chibnall's
and people hate that. People hate that.
They hated it because we not only were we getting not great Who, we were also getting nothing about it. We knew nothing coming, and to a degree, that's fine. There are obviously surprises that you should save, but you have to satiate a fan a little bit.
We only have to because the fans demand we do. Because again, they didn't used to have to. Things just happen, and you had no choice to be more passive and just be along for the ride and invest yourself. Now we can go, oh, I don't like that Doctor's jacket. I don't think I'm going to watch. Or more to the point, like, well, there's no tension. The Doctor will survive until this point. The Doctor will be fine. And the beauty of the Doctor as a character is we actually have a protagonist that is functionally mortal. That he does die over and over again. He's not safe like so many other heroes that we watch. And so we lose a little of that anticipation. It's just valuable. That said, it's neat to see. All that said, this is neat to see.
I think it's really touching because the first one is touching too. When it was Matt looking at David Bradley, it was something special. It captured that. And this is an exciting one because it's Doctor, like we said, we haven't seen, we know nothing yet while knowing everything. It's a confusing mix.
Matt Smith is now older than David Tennant was when David Tennant was first the Doctor. Wow.
I turn 25 in like 15 minutes, so yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously. That just made me realize, oh man, I'm old. I'm not old. I know, Landry. Don't give me that look.
I'm not saying anything.
One more thing that we're going to talk about for news. A spinoff in development I guess. The war
Rumors of a
between-
spin-off.
Yeah. This sounds like bogus. This doesn't sound
Would you watch
real.
it though? Would you watch it?
Yes.
I'd probably watch the first episode, and if I didn't like it, I'd be like, nah, I'm out.
I'd give it a chance.
I would give it a chance. Maybe it could surprise me, but like just premise alone, just like, oh, it's an entire spin-off about the Sea Devils. I'm like, I barely liked the story they debuted in.
What if it was? Here's the thing. What if, as a war between land and sea, and the Sea Devils, it wasn't the Sea Devils versus the humans, but the Sea Devils versus the land Silurians?
Oh, that actually sounds interesting.
Then,
But the only real way that they could bring me there is if they had Sean Pertwee as the third Doctor, and he was going to show up every now and again. That'd be the only way.
yes,
That would be.
We've written whatever this is. We've written it better now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of writing things differently, it's time to talk about the Star Beast. Chris, you've already made a little short talking about your thoughts. So our special guest star, who has always been here, there's never been a Jimmy. You watched it like an hour ago. So give us your thoughts.
Oh wait.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing you have to understand is I was like 12 or 13 when the comic came out. And it was the first Doctor Who comic I bought because I was a fairly new Doctor Who fan, and I picked it up off the shelf like, I'll buy this. So that was my first Doctor Who comic, was this. I am all sorts of high on this episode right now. I mean, the David Tennant, Donna, my favorite companion of the new Doctor Who era. All of it, just there's so much there. I love that we go right into it. Yes, we've got his little like, I'm the Doctor and here's my story. It's like, that's fantastic. That's fun. And I wish they'd do that a lot. They could do that all the time. It's like the Star Wars crawl. Give me the Doctor summarizing the backstory. I could do a lot with that. That's fun. But just my overall reaction. Yeah. Yeah, that's where I am. I'm happy.
I am too. We should go ahead and say this is going to be full spoilers. It's been a good amount of time. If you haven't watched it yet, I'm sorry.
Did it just come out today?
No. It came out Saturday. Comes out every Saturday.
I thought today was the premiere. I've been able to watch it for days.
I
waited until today.
Yeah.
Nah. Because these specials are every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Same day release as the UK.
Yeah, I think 11:30 your time. AM.
Yeah, so for me it's around 4:30 AM.
For me, it's 1 something, I think. Yeah.
Well, I did not realize that. I literally waited until today to watch it. I saw some bits pop up online. I'm like, I'm going to ignore these early reviews. They shouldn't be spoiling stuff yet. But no, I thought it was great. Okay, small critical point. The Meep should have been rounder.
Yes.
He wasn't round enough. I want that circular form.
I'm going to slightly disagree, though, only because the Meep, through half of this, he said, oh, no, woe is me. Please don't. Oh, be my friend. But then when it takes a turn and it, like, stands up and the neck bends out, oh, that's great. That's great visual. Just, to hell with this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I loved that. Chris, you can go ahead with your thoughts. I know you've been waiting to just splurge.
Yeah, for me, like first day watching it, day it came out, I was so happy that after 13 months, Doctor was back. We have David back. David is back. Catherine is back. RTD is back. It's just a whole lot of fun. Just overall, it was a good episode. It was just good to have Doctor Who back as an adaptation of the Star Beast. It follows the basic plot points. Not everything from the Star Beast is carried over. So, like the two main Wrath Warriors, their role is downsized in this compared to the comic or the audio adaptations. Same with the character of Fudge. Fudge is a main character in the comic and the adaptation. This one, he's just a kid. He's just there. He's just a kid that's kind of just there for the most part. But mainly with the Doctor and Donna stuff, I loved it. Sylvia, biggest character development.
No.
She's changed so much, and I love it. It's good.
Funny. She's having to kind of be the same person she has, but to protect her daughter.
Yeah.
It's
just
good.
like comparison of to like how she is in Runaway Bride and then series 4, where she's kind of like the nagging mother doesn't want to kind of deal with this, to End of Time where she's protective, to this where she's full on developed as a character. Same with Sean, Donna's husband. He wasn't much of a character in End of Time, but in here, even with the very little you get of him, you get a pretty good understanding of what kind of person he is. His
Something
character.
smells good.
Something smells good. Tuna Madras. That was a fun scene. The Meep, fantastic. I loved the Meep. The Meep was so good in this. Every scene with the Meep.
They nailed the designs. They nailed the design. I mean, aside from the roundness, the aliens, all of it, just from the comic,
everything.
Just great translation.
I love that the distinction of like, could you tell, was this fully just a suit or was this CGI? They did it so well. It's a nice mix of both of it, to where it looks like this could just been fully have just been a practical suit.
I didn't
like
know
eyes
that
and everything. It is a full practical suit. I think they said they used CGI to make like a little bit more realistic with like certain design aspects. I think mainly eyes, mouth, like a bit of the fur. Same with the Wrath Warriors. They were all
Wrath
Warriors. They were practical suits. They were suit actors.
Amazing.
And they just had like maybe CGI was used to touch it up a bit.
It's so visually stunning.
It is. And
so
performances as well. Like David is just like, you can tell there's aspects where it's like, that's 10. You can see the 10 aspects of him, but and a lot of it, he's very different.
He's grown up.
He acknowledges it. He's grown up. It's a grown up 10.
He's 10 with a lot of different weight. He also isn't carrying it'll be interesting to see because he's not carrying the weight of the Time War anymore.
Yeah.
So, but now of course he's got this whole Gallifrey is destroyed again. It's one more reason it's a little unfortunate with some of the directions they took, because we get a different kind of heavy where we finally could have had a 10 that was free of this stuff. We get 10 back, but he's got a new wave of weight to carry on his shoulders. Like maybe.
Well, I feel like that's kind of.
What do you mean? Jody didn't care at all. 13 was like, "Oh, Gallifrey's destroyed."
I feel like the weight that he currently has is the whole. He's regenerated into a face he's had before. And that's never happened before. I think that's the main weight on his shoulder now. Is like it makes more sense with this whole like, I don't know who I am anymore, because it's like this hasn't happened to me before. Like, what is this? What's going on?
Although if we take the curator or what's his name, the museum Baker,
the curator,
as an indication, he would have some idea that it could happen.
It could happen, yeah. It could. It could happen.
The line was, you might find yourself visiting a few old favorites along the way. A few familiar faces on the way, but only the favorites.
Only the favorites, yes.
Only the favorites.
New characters, Shirley. I liked her. She's fun. Rose, liked her as well. I will say, I'm guessing we're going to talk about the whole messaging and representation.
So
the first half I would say is done well, dealing with like trans representation and issues like the whole like dead naming and all that. I feel like that's handled well. You know, Donna, Sean, and Sylvia being supportive. I think Sylvia in particular, like she's the representation of someone who's accepted it, but may accidentally slip up sometimes. But it's not from a place of like malice.
It's from a oops, I fucked up kind of place.
Yeah. It's like a oops. It's for Sylvia, and for like I feel like for a lot of people, it's a learning experience. Yeah, she's learning. She's accepting. She's trying
is the important part.
Trying is the important part.
Digging her feet in, going no. She is trying her best, and that's what's important there. And I think that message is really well executed. It's delivered. They move on, and it's very natural, very real. I mean, I've seen that play out in real life with people I know, and it felt very real and well written from a natural place.
Yeah. I will say that the messaging in the second half feels very. It feels forced, and I feel like someone should have told RTD maybe don't do it this way.
So I feel that because I've watched it 2 times now, and it's very rare that I do that, but I went ahead watched it 2 times because a couple members of my family hadn't seen it yet, and they were watching Doctor Who, so watched it again. And the second time around, I hardly noticed it. The only thing is the stupid joke about, oh, well, you're a male presenting Time Lord. You couldn't understand. You just have to let it go. That was just stupid.
I could see where RTD was going. It just doesn't work considering in the scene before, I think scenes before it and even early in the episode establishing the Doctor is gender fluid. They're just the Doctor, so gender doesn't matter. But then making it a point like, well, you're a male incarnation, you wouldn't understand.
When the Doctor could be fluid. Okay, here's where we get into some issues, I think. And I felt like this since the Doctor regenerated into Jodie, and they didn't address it. It just is. And I think we're in a point in time in our culture where it's very different from when I was growing up, and my generation, it was very much like gender does not define you. Men can have long hair, they can wear makeup, that doesn't make them not men. We're in a very different place where gender identification takes on a very different meaning than it used to. And for the Doctor, for it not to matter to the Doctor, when it matters, identification matters so much to an entire generation. I had a problem with that when the Doctor regenerated into Jodie. It should have mattered to the Doctor. The Doctor should have had feelings about it, dealt with it, addressed it, because it is a hard thing for people to, and a hard decision for people to go through, to put themselves in a very, to come out and tell people that they are, trans. Or gay or anything. And for the Doctor just kind of go, it doesn't matter, bothered me back then, because I felt like it was dismissing something that they had a great opportunity to really address and talk about. This goes a different direction. They kind of said, and I got to think about this one because I literally just watched it. Are they saying Rose is trans because of the meta crisis? Because that's a little dicey.
I don't know.
It's a nebulous area. There were a lot of people that said that it made it more prevalent, like Rose being trans being essential to the plot. It doesn't feel essential. It doesn't feel that way. They just...
Well, I don't mean it in terms of that. I don't think that Rose being trans was essential to the plot. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was in terms of what it did to the plot, in terms of what it did to Donna and her daughter and the bond and all that was really interesting. And I like that it gave them an interesting way. But if they're saying that Rose was only trans because of the meta crisis, that's because because it could code that way, and that's a problem if that's the case. Like, not what they were intending to communicate, because it's Rose
we don't know unless
not because of some other source.
I don't think that's what they were. I don't think it's.
I don't think that's the full intent. I don't think
that's the intent. I'm sure it's not the intent, but it was dangerously close to communicating that, and I think that's
I can kind of see the implication, but I don't think that's what they were going for. I don't feel like it's like, oh, she's only trans because of the meta crisis. I think it's just used as something to symbolize, or how would I say it? It's something to do with like her character, with her like. Yeah.
I think it's also.
It just wasn't expanded enough, because a lot of, for it being an hour, I think the fact is, I think RTD had a problem with trying to put all of this into 1 hour. So you have the whole 14th Doctor, his whole issue. Then you got Donna, the whole Dr. Donna issue. You've got it being an adaptation of a previous story and trying to follow the plot, the beats to that. And then you've got introducing all these other new characters on top of it, also being a setup for the next episode and set up for an anniversary special. I do feel like he had a lot of too many eggs in his basket, and he tried his best to try and keep everything in there. It's just, I felt like, as much as I like Rose, she doesn't have a lot with the story. Essentially, she's taken the role of Sharon from the original Star Beast. So I'm fine with them just not having Fudge as the main character. So you could just give it more to the new version of Sharon, which is Rose in this regard. But there's not a lot with her, because the central focus is the Doctor and Donna.
Well, we see how little it's about Rose when Donna stays behind, and when Donna joins the Doctor at the end, and no one else, and says to her daughter, "You're not going.
You're not going. You're not
going."
No.
She coded older than she was, because she's only supposed to be like 14 or 15, and she coded much older. Well, they said that, didn't they say that okay, you guys watched it more than me, but didn't they say that Donna only got married 15 years earlier, which usually means that you got about a year before the kid.
So
I guess so.
Maybe. Well, Yasmin Finney in real life is what, 18? 18? He was 17 in Heartstopper, I believe.
Huge age, huge
20.
Huge, 20.
20.
They coded 20. They looked very much. They looked like an adult to me, and I didn't realize they were. I thought, oh, so it's been like 20 years. I didn't realize that this was supposed to be a child still, and that kind of changes some things too about, like the permissiveness of the parents and the choices. Are they making the choice to transition as an adult? Did they choose to transition as a teen? How would their parents react to that? How do the grandparents react to that when they're younger? Can be a big difference from when they're older. So I wish that they had brought in somebody who was a few years younger, maybe, or coded a little younger, or they'd hit it closer to really communicating. This is a 14-year-old, because I did not get that. I thought this was an adult for most of it, until she says, "You're a child," or they say, "There's a child here." I'm like, where? I literally was like, wait, where's the kid? And
yeah. Well, I felt you could just chalk that up to like all parents see their kids as still children.
I thought Rose was initially going to be like a 17, because that's what I thought that Yasmin Finney was. I thought she was younger, but I guess not.
But she was once.
Who
was once, yeah. But
speaking on the meta crisis, I do feel that, again, Russell had a lot on his plate. It does feel hand wavy, that it's just let it go.
Having a child, actually, I think there's a certain degree her passing it along. I'm
fine with that. I'm fine with that. You could have just had it that the meta crisis just dissipates because now its power is halved.
Yeah, but they wanted to go ahead and have that silly joke about, well, you wouldn't understand. You can just let it go. I don't think Time Lords can just let it go.
That was so unnecessary. I don't like that. Also, I don't like the fact that it's heavily implied the 10th Doctor put in a Winter Soldier-esque reactivation code for the Dr. Donna.
Implied. It's literally
that.
It's
not
literally
even
that.
Binary.
I don't like that. Like, the whole thing is like, oh yeah, the Dr. Donna will kill her if it's still there. And he puts in a reactivation code?
Yeah.
Why did a defense mechanism, as we saw in End of Time, that makes sense. Okay, a one-time defense mechanism, because it's one of his best friends. But like
No, he did.
No,
yeah, he did.
She did that herself.
No,
that's
but
what
he put it literally.
He says in there.
I would have given my best friend a way to defend herself.
She's brilliant. She's brilliant. She's defending herself because she passed out.
No. He says you'd think I wouldn't have given my best friend a way to defend herself, doesn't?
Then what?
Yeah.
He does say something along the lines, "Oh, she's brilliant. She's brilliant because."
No, that's the when she gives Wilf a book of Joshua Naismith, and then Wilf tells the Doctor, and he's like, "Oh, she's brilliant." Like there's a tiny bit of the Dr. Donna like subconsciously guiding her. But no, the Doctor does say, he says, "You don't think I'd leave my best friend without a defense mechanism, would you?" So he put that defense mechanism there as like a one-time like safety measure, but putting in a reactivation code on something that he knows would kill her, that doesn't bode well with me.
So I thought,
you're not wrong.
My thought is, why not just make it relevant? So have like keywords like a Winter Soldier thing, but why random like Pelican? Why is there a Pelican there? You could just say Agatha Christie, blah 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 blah. Just trigger it with like keywords that make sense. None of that made sense.
To be fair, I liked it better leading up to it. This leading up to her finally saying the Doctor. I like the subtle parts where it's like, oh,
like it was coming out,
like it's starting to click, like when he gives her the sonic screwdriver and she takes a second to like look at it. It's like, oh, is this like something familiar? I feel like I know this. Also, there have been people critiquing him going ahead and saying this is a sonic screwdriver in front of Donna. I can understand that, but we also have to realize, and I don't think a lot of people like, we are coming at it as fans who have been fans for many years. We've watched so much Doctor Who. This is the first episode that will ever be on Disney Plus. There's no other Doctor Who episode on Disney Plus.
I think that
it's an introduction too.
One can, and I noticed this, it didn't bother me, but I noticed this while watching the episode, in that the Doctor, after a point, doesn't seem to care to hide anything from Donna. He also, I think, is at a point like, what am I going to do? We're past the point of hiding this. But then he freaks out over her knowing anything. So it's kind of like pick a lane a little bit.
I feel like it's him accidentally getting like, it's kind of like back into the game.
Yeah. Forgetting that she's even not Donna.
Like he knows that she can't remember him, or it will kill her. But I think it's the fact that he's back with this face that's associated with Donna. He's back with someone that he clearly misses, has missed for a long time. It's someone he says he loved her, and is one of his best friends. So I feel like it's just him, going down. Friend. Yeah, him going down like memory road. It feels like it's just natural for him. So he's accidentally kind of doing that, like, as I know, what do you think? And giving her the sonic screwdriver. That for him, that just probably is just natural. I don't even think it crossed his mind that, oh, yeah, Donna's gonna die if she starts remembering. So I think it's just mainly him just feeling like this is like the good old days.
Well, I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of like, I don't know. Is he being? It's going to be interesting where it goes. I don't even know. Because I also don't know at all. I know probably a lot less of what's coming than what you both know.
We know
Also,
nothing.
I don't watch the trailers.
We know
Nobody-
nothing.
So
On the next episode, we know nothing. Literally, no one knows nothing because it's the most. It has to be a really interesting episode because they've been very secretive about it.
Yeah. RTD said that basically, well, this is what I can tell you about Wild Blue Yonder. Redacted. Everything is kept secret. The only scene that might be there is the one where he's screaming against the grate, but we don't even know that. And RTD said in his letter that no footage has been shown, so I don't think it is that. This is now we have one scene that's been teased with the Wild Blue Yonder bit.
I don't know. I don't know
I was
anything.
scared the TARDIS ran away. That's all.
I want to do a little interlude here because I have a macaroni and cheese scented candle that I'm going to light on live on air. This is going to be terrible.
This is our break. Let's just go ahead.
It's so bad. It smells, and I was telling Chris this earlier. It smells unlit, which I've never lit it before. It smells like a Kraft macaroni and cheese powder rubbed into old socks.
Ugh.
All right, here we go. It's lit.
Any better?
Well, so far it hasn't hit me yet. I don't think it's hitting the wax yet. So let me tilt it a little and accelerate this horrific process.
Maranya, why must you hurt me so?
Here's a funny thing. It smells so strong. It smells so strong unlit, but lit, there's nothing.
Really?
Maybe I burned out my nose when I huffed it a minute ago. There's nothing. It's all right. That was disappointing. All right, we can go back to Doctor Who.
Let's talk about our new. Oh, what were you going to say?
I want to talk about the new intro.
That's what I was about to say. We'll talk about the new intro, the new opening.
Epic. It's literally.
I rewound it. I watched that. I stopped, went back, watched it again instantly.
It's.
And the logo.
I love the logo too. I don't know. I don't understand the hate the logo's getting. I really don't.
It's getting hate?
Yeah, people
Why?
hate it. People hate the
Transition.
diamond.
Okay, so that was the logo when I intersected with Doctor Who.
I know.
Tom Baker was just exiting, and so we had that. And I didn't. I had this color changing badge for my fan club membership. You touch it and change color. It was very space age, and it was branded on everything, of course. And I love that logo, and I love the Peter Davison one that came after it. It is aged much more poorly, the neon feeling 80s style, but that one is just beautiful to me.
It's
just
nice.
beautiful.
Yes.
I like the opening. I think it's so good.
The surfing.
I don't like some of the musical stings. I feel like they are sometimes out of place.
I need to listen to it again.
Like the main that do 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 do. I feel like that's when the logo should have appeared, but it happens after the logo. It's for like the title of the episode and the credit, the writing credits. I feel like that should have been. I felt like that's when the logo should appear because that's how it used to be. Like even with like when RTD brought it back, the Doctor Who logo would spin to that section of the song.
It would be have we ever done a thing, or you guys done a thing when I haven't been here where we rank the logos? We do a logo ranking of the ages.
We've done the themes. We haven't done the logos.
We need to do logos.
We should do the logos because
number one, Seventh Doctor. I'm kidding.
Because the first RTD one would be low on my list.
I mean, there's logo. I think it has to be two separate discussions.
Surfboard.
Logos and credits. Because you can like the credits, but the logo itself may not be great, or vice versa.
We did the credits. We did the opening credits.
Opening credits.
We didn't
Which I
rank
think,
the logo.
then I do think then the logo is necessary because the logo is distinct from the opening credits itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I even like how the logo comes in. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's just a PNG just flipping in." I don't see it as that. It's a physical piece. It comes out and then it explodes with the Who shooting outwards towards us. It's great. I love it.
I was so caught in a moment I don't even remember. And that's where we should be, right? We should be in the moment when we watch this stuff. We shouldn't be. I say that as we're people sitting here dissecting it, but when we're watching it, we should just be cruising along through that space lane with the TARDIS and just be in the moment.
It's so.
I like it's a mix. It's a mix of what we've had before. So it's like cloudy like Matt Smith's first one. It has the obvious like red and blue that Archie brought in. The multiple different sections is from like Jodie's. Like whenever you see the Time Vortex in Jodie's series, like it's like multiple different holes to be like, oh, that's different parts of like time.
It's so wide and expansive. It's surfing along the edge before
when it's
cutting through clouds.
Getting along. Okay, how about the TARDIS interior?
Okay, I have some pictures. We're going to look at these pictures because honestly, it's truly, this reveal is random. That's the one thing I don't like. The Sonic, he just had it. It wasn't in the previous things at all.
But he had his clothes too. His clothes just appeared.
His clothes just appeared, but in the Liberation of the Daleks Doctor Who magazine comic, he destroys Jodie's Sonic twice. He literally makes another and it gets destroyed in the last issue. At that point, he could have had that TARDIS shoot out a Sonic to him like it did for 11. But then the TARDIS interior just changing. I thought that was fine, but
I mean, it's happened in the show before, of course. Oh my god, it's so classic in so many ways. It's beautiful.
It is. I love that. It's just huge.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
The implication being, it's just going to be empty for David's specials. But then when Shooty comes in, it could be filled. We
saw that with Smith to Capaldi. Smith's last TARDIS, how segued into Capaldi's and started being filled with clutter. This is and I love that was my previous favorite new TARDIS of the new era was the Capaldi Smith one.
I didn't like it when it was Smith's. It was much better with Capaldi.
Yes, because it added the little bookcase.
It added a bit more.
But this, I mean, there's doors everywhere. Where do they all go? Like, this is amazing.
I know it's so good, and just 14 just running around like an excited kid.
He did. He tore through it, and it was great. That was good.
So much fun. And then once we get it, Donna accidentally spills coffee on it.
Yep.
It's
fire.
Already destroying it because it's like, hey, we kind of broke the tradition where the TARDIS gets destroyed when there's a regeneration. So, no, this is after regeneration. Just when it's a new TARDIS gets destroyed.
As Theory says, this is perhaps the biggest blow up in history.
I mean, the previous, it looks like a dying spider.
Yes, the honeycomb, I call it, because of the color.
Honeycomb would look better. It's just... the Wicked Witch has been splashed with water.
And now it's so nice and bright and clean, and now we just need some personality added onto it, and it'll be perfect.
I feel like that's the intention. It's just gonna be blank for David, and then went for Shooty because Shooty has been in like so many different costumes, so it feels like he's just gonna fill the TARDIS.
It needs to start with a fire extinguisher.
Yes, just right next to it.
Yeah, strapped to one of these rails.
Well, there was some time ago with like leaks of this of a similar design, and there's a jukebox like near the console in like one of the pictures. I
think that was a joke.
Was it a joke?
Yeah, because I looked at the picture and it was edited in the middle, just a little TARDIS, like a little. I was like, oh. I think that was just a joke.
The logo is great. The TARDIS is great. David Tennant is great.
Catherine Tate is great. Yeah.
Murray Gold is great. The credits are great, and the haters are all just hatey. It's there's a lot to love about it, and it really just, it's weird watching this and seeing Catherine Tate going and realizing this is like Sarah Jane coming back at this point, because it's been over a decade. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's very strange to see.
Very weird.
And Dave Tennant, he became the Doctor in 2006. You know, he was 36 years old. I know, because he's older than I am, for perspective there. Not by much. He's like 3 months older than me. So he's 52 right now. He went from 36 years old. So he's almost the age that Hartnell was when Hartnell was 55, right?
I think so, yeah.
Even posting
was 52 or 53.
I made this post earlier because somebody did pictures of William Hartnell and David Tennant together. The one where he raises his eyebrow and it's like, this is getting spooky. It's like, okay.
Let's see.
Big Finish. Need a First Doctor, 14th Doctor adventure like right now.
So we haven't talked about it a bit.
There's a gap.
The new sonic screwdriver. There's parts I like about it, and there's parts that I don't. I like the interface, because for like majority of just Doctor Who, when the sonic screwdriver, the Doctor would just look into it, or it just feels like a point and click. So you never really got to understand like how the Doctor could see like readings or information. So I like the whole creating an interface for it. I'm not sold on creating force fields though.
Yeah,
that really took me out for a minute. I was like,
I can just make a force field now.
That would have been handy so many times. And now when it doesn't do it, this is an old problem in comics with Superman. Superman specifically, though it applies to all superheroes. Once you give Superman laser eyes, why doesn't he always use laser eyes? Once they gave him the ability to fly, he had to always be able to fly, because he couldn't always fly. Once he's able to, lift something we've never seen him lift, why isn't he always able to do that? It's now we're always going to go, why doesn't Doctor just project a force field? That's something he can do. Why didn't R2-D2 always have that third leg with those jets on his shoulders? At least with robots, they were taken out.
Exactly. So yeah,
so that maybe we could accept that this new Sonic does it, but now going forward, if all Sonics don't do it, it's like, what happened? You can make force shields.
Wow. I mean, Jack had the Sonic Repulsor, which was basically just a gun. And it does significant damage. It's a Sonic device. Why can't this Sonic device do it? I think Shooty's going to have a different screwdriver. Sure. And maybe it'll be a little less OP, a little less shiny, big. I think that'll just be it. Maybe he doesn't use it as much.
Because I don't like that. I don't like that it can make.
I didn't even like the interface. I didn't like the interface.
I like the interface.
Listen. The great thing about the sonic screwdriver, you say yes. Obviously, he looks into it. It looks like he can understand it. That feels natural, and especially when I was a kid growing up, that's what you do with a sonic. You look at it, you're like, "Oh, I'm the Doctor. I can do that." The interface takes it out of it. It takes away the imagination because
I agree.
You're supposed to be able to just
look at it and go, "I'm being the Doctor." They have to go, and they can still pretend there's an interface, but it's not the same unless they start doing ones that project things, which would be a good toy. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe it'll be a Sonic with projection and it has different slides.
Stop giving them ideas.
I want them to take that idea. Make the toy. I'll buy it. Give me a Sonic screwdriver that projects like
Crispy
different...
Pro. Hey, Crispy Pro. Yeah, it's saying Sonic way too powerful. Yes.
It always has
Sonic. I know. I don't like Sonic. The Sonic sunglasses just were not.
The first Doctor in the Sonic sunglasses was the coolest thing. Peter Capaldi is right. He's right.
And Moffat had only one joke with it. It was like, "What's browser history?" Like, come on.
No, he used it. He had him put it on, and go ahead and use
Yeah,
it.
but he had to do that because he's done that joke before of the whole "don't look at my browser history." He did it in Matt's first episode. It's like, bloody hell, you know. And remove your browser history.
It's fun.
It's a topical joke. I think that I mean, yeah, the Sonic is too powerful. The Sonic has always been too powerful. That's why they got rid of it. But the Pterodactyls blew up the Fifth Doctor's Sonic, and they didn't give him a new Sonic until really in the new show. Well, more or less.
Not until the TV movie.
Yeah, he had it in the TV. He had a whole basket of them.
The whole thing, even the resonating concrete didn't bother me because even the 50th anniversary, well, if we go ahead and use this, we should be able to go ahead and disintegrate the door, get the right frequency. And that was it being thrown away, not having to happen was fun. But
right.
It's probably just an evolution of it. It's technology. It develops. It improves upon itself. So. See, with the Ninth Doctor, it's just like, well, you got to give me time to do this, and it's
the only thing I had a problem with is when they treated it when River Song shows up, and they treated it like, how can you have a sonic screwdriver? The Doctor, it wasn't Sonics are. That's why would he be the only one? Romana looked at his and used it once, and he was all possessive about it, so she went and built a better one. She had a Sonic, and it was better than his.
It's Time Lord technology.
What's that?
It's Time Lord technology.
I don't think it was even meant to be Time Lord technology back then, but okay. Like, I feel like that's something they it was just technology.
That's not concrete pixel, that's a mortar. Thank you. Yeah.
Honestly, having just built a 45-foot long retaining wall, that was my first thought. There's no, it's not concrete. That's totally different.
Yeah, but it's still fun. And yeah, that's going to be the biggest. The biggest problem was that the Sonic was way too powerful. It was showy-offy. It was like, no.
As soon as it can somehow like revive someone, then it's like, yeah, it's destroyed again.
At least it looks cooler than the old one, the last one.
Oh,
yes. The only Sonic toy I didn't get. I have a complete.
Stop showing it off. I'm gonna have to go on eBay and see if I can get one now.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I hold it. I feel good. I don't know how else to explain it.
I always pick a Sonic to watch Doctor Who with. I always have to have a Sonic when I'm watching Doctor Who. I have a complete collection in a cabinet in my room. There,
I want a laser screwdriver.
Are they hard to get now?
It's far too much. I can't get it.
The only thing I don't have is the lipstick. I don't have the Sonic lipstick.
You have the Sonic pen?
I didn't get the Sonic pen. I forgot about the Sonic pen. I think because it bored me.
Yeah, it's boring. It was totally unnecessary. It was only for David to basically go, I can put these together and make it go wee.
Right, because it was somebody else's. It wasn't even. Speaking of, there's somebody else with a Sonic device. It wasn't a Time Lord.
Yeah, that's the one thing that bothers me too, because it is supposed to be basically Time Lord technology.
But since when? I mean, I didn't take away that it was Time Lord tech when I was a kid. But
it was something the Doctor made or had.
Or stole. And don't we see other? Well, now I have to look it up.
The Sixth Doctor had a Sonic Lance,
right? Which is still Sonic.
That was the cool thing about the laser screwdriver, because the Master could not create a Sonic screwdriver, so he used technology that he developed.
Well, he didn't want to make a Sonic screwdriver.
He wanted something more destructive.
He wanted a weapon.
Yeah. But he also couldn't, because he had to use it using Earth materials. It had to be different. Because that's one of the implications. It's not something that you can just build on Earth. Sorry, Jody.
Sonic Lance, Sonic Cane, of course.
Oh, yeah, the Sonic Cane.
Campbell. Okay, so there's a Sonic Wand. Sonic Law. I want to just see what it is in TV shows, really. I mean, Romana built her own Sonic screwdriver, as we know, in Horns of Numan. Missy had the Sonic umbrella.
Which that is like, I know Chris, you said that, oh well, that's not good because it was made on Etsy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna claim it. but it looks so nice. Look at
Amy made a sonic probe of her own. Toshiko in Torchwood built a sonic modulator. Miss Foster had a sonic pen,
so nice,
which was sleeker than sonic
like this. It's great.
Oh! Where did you get that?
I bought it from a steel worker on Etsy. Like I said, they basically make recreations. They have one of the Masters tissue
Impression.
Yeah. And I almost bought that, but I wasn't paying $130 for that.
How much was this one?
This was with shipping like 60 something.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. It's so worth it. It's like, it's a neat thing. It was used in one episode, but it's
let's face it. The Doctor is a wizard, and this is a magic wand.
Yes.
It's just technology.
Yes.
Magic instead of magic, you know?
Yes.
Jack Harkness mentions sonic disruptors. There's a sonic corkscrew and a sonic shower. Okay. All right. There's nothing specifically saying that it's Time Lord or not Time Lord technology I can see. But Ice Warriors had one. Silurians used one.
When?
Well, the sonic screwdriver was first seen in the Ice Warriors.
Yes, but that was the second Doctor's.
Right. His pen that looked like a pen light.
I can prove I'm from the future.
I have a pen light that looks just like them. Okay, we've gotten really off track. This is interesting.
Yes, sorry. My thoughts are basically echoing all of this. This was a fantastic episode. Doctor Who is back. It is properly back.
This was Doctor Who.
This was Doctor Who. Thank you, Maranya. Yes, 25 years on this earth. 75 more to go.
I gotta throw on the side. Seeing Pat Mills' name up there, the writer of the first comic creator that I ever met and hung out with. First two, Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill. Eric Jones, who is the artist on most of my comics, and I met them when we were in our early 20s. They were doing a signing at a comic store we worked at, and so we all went out and got drunk at a bar. And of course, Kevin O'Neill, he passed away recently, and Eric passed away recently, so that's all very sad. But in terms of Pat Mills, just it's so exciting that seeing him get his credit and apparently paid. This is an important thing we should talk about real quick. They paid him for this. They paid him for this episode. Titan, who reprinted the comic into those giant graphic novels, did not.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Problem.
Yeah.
And let me bite some of the hands that sometimes feed me. Publishers, when you reprint books, maybe you're not contractually bound to pay people, but ethically and morally, you are. So
yeah, because you're profiting off someone's work, so at least they should be compensated.
Yeah,
because it's their work.
Yeah.
That's like when what was it? Jim Starlin got paid more for KG Beast and Batman vs Superman than he did with anything that Marvel.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This happens all the time. I could tell you about something from the Avengers movie that I wrote that I didn't get any money for. But we need more attention put on this. It is a problem. The BBC amazingly and wonderfully did the right thing. They did right by Mills and Gibbons. And
did you read that interview in Doctor Who magazine, Landry?
Which interview?
They interviewed the artist and writer
Mills
for Starbeast, talking about their experience with the 60th anniversary.
No, Mills and I are. I see him on Twitter, so I got it all from his posts on Twitter. I didn't see the interview.
Yeah, because it's behind the scenes. There's behind the scenes like videos of them going to the sets and seeing Beat the Meat.
I haven't seen
seeing
that.
Seeing the Roth Warriors, David like running up to them with a copy of Doctor Who magazine, being like, can you sign? It's not mine because my one's at home in a safe somewhere. But can you get this signed? Just being a huge fanboy.
In over 30 years of working in the comics industry professionally, I'd be hard pressed to point to meeting anyone as nice and patient and fun to people who he had no reason to be, no need to be, as Mills and Kevin, as Pat and Kevin both were. It was great. And so seeing his name on Doctor Who on a TV show and knowing that they rewarded him properly, the guy deserves it. I mean, it'd be very easy for, like, there's a lot of people in comics, big names, that could go, oh no, that person's a trash fire. They don't deserve anything. This guy, he's one of the best. He really is. So it makes it, seeing this episode and seeing them do it right had so much impact on me in that regard, because this is a significant memory for me and a big part of what helped propel me and give me the courage and conviction to pursue the career I pursued. Was that night hanging out in a bar with these two professionals who just spent the whole time saying, we do this is how you do this, how you do this, and this is where I get, and just talk about life and living and making comics as a part of it. Great people. Pat Mills is a great person. I'm glad to see him get his due.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Especially this day and age where a lot of creators just aren't getting either just not credit or getting compensated because of rights. Because at least with the MCU, they made a certain like clause or something that they didn't have to compensate them like royalties or anything. They can credit them, but like you don't expect like a big royalties payout because your character was in a Avengers film.
I mean, look at the case that happened with Blade. I don't know if you guys know about this one, but the Blade was created. I'm blanking on the creator's name now, but he created Blade for his fanzine, and then he was writing Tomb of Dracula for Marvel. And his editor's like, why don't you bring your character over into Tomb of Dracula? That'd be cool. And he's like, yeah, well, it's my character though. And he's like, that's fine. We'll just put him there. He'll still be your character. And he said, okay. So he did it. He didn't have a contract that said they would own it. And what they did, he went to go get his check, and then Marvel started putting on the checks a thing. They stamped on the back of the checks if you endorse your check to get it cashed, because you had to take your check to a bank and you had to have it signed. And on that was the contract giving away all your rights. And so he couldn't get paid, he was going to get evicted or something. Finally, he tried to hold his ground. He was going to get evicted until he finally signed it. And then he sued when the first Blade movie came out, and they said, oh, no. Here's your check. You agreed to the terms that were created after the fact, holding his money hostage in the process.
Yeah. Marv Wolfman.
Yeah.
Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, writer and artist. Yeah.
It's a lot. And these companies do these things. And so when we see a company like BBC and we see someone like Russell T Davies, they don't need to. They could get away without acknowledging and crediting and the source, but they chose to honor it. Honor the people who made that stuff. Slow clap.
And that's because it's an anniversary, so you're celebrating like not just the TV show as well.
Yeah,
celebrating like every aspect of this this franchise, this series.
Yeah, I think it is a little different over there, though. I'm saying still everything that Arthur did that was great. He doesn't have to do it to the extent that he did it, but I think there is something, because every time I listen to a big Finnish production and the Brigadier is in it, it's listed as a separate copyright. It's a separate character.
There is absolutely, but you have to bear in mind, Beep the Meep was created. Wasn't created for TV, and it could be that creating it for the Marvel comic. It was Marvel UK comic, but it was a Marvel property. Or it was Marvel who was the original publishers.
Was it though?
The Doctor Who comic.
Because it first came out in Doctor Who magazine, though, right?
I think Marvel was the publisher of that at the time.
Doctor Who magazine? Oh, maybe, or Doctor Who Weekly.
I thought it was like the Transformers character Death's Head was a UK Marvel UK.
I don't know. But no, I'm still saying everything that RTD did was great in that regard. I loved reading their interview in Doctor Who magazine, talking about the creation of that and seeing that brought adapted here. It's great. Brilliant.
Let's see. Who was the publisher of Doctor Who magazine? Maybe you're right. And it was just collected into...
Yeah, it just says Doctor Who Weekly.
Yeah, it was in Doctor Who Weekly first, and then when Marvel got the rights to make Doctor Who comics, that's the first thing they did. They collected that, shipped it out.
Well, when I look up Doctor Who magazine, volume 1, 173, it does come up into the Marvel fandom database.
I could be wrong.
Cover date May 1991. That's not right. This is the Beat the Meep predates that, so I don't know what this is. I mean, it has Beat the Meep in it, but this is, I think, a reprint.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there could be a thing with the UK copyright law, because I know there's with the TV shows. It's why, that's why we're in that problem with the Unearthly Child, right? I mean,
yeah.
And Terry Nation with the Daleks, which was always a little weird since he didn't do anything to do with the visual design of it. This is why we get into the whole thing of why I maintain, and I know this will be an unpopular opinion, that the War Chief is the master.
The War Chief is not the master. Stop it.
Who created the two characters?
Doesn't matter. Different characters.
Does, though.
Different.
Because you have the War Chief created by two people, and then one of them went on to create the master without the other, and for him to have it his own copyright, he had to change the name. And what happens? He says he's calling himself the Master now.
No.
It's War Chief.
No.
Okay. There's just two identically dressed,
identical. They're
with
both Time Lords. One is a punk.
Same MO, the same MO, the same fashion sense.
But that's why we don't see the Warlords anymore, right?
What's that?
That's why we don't see the Warlords anymore, too, right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think we could.
That sounds like a whole faction that you would throw into like Time War shenanigans, right?
Well, they don't have time travel. They didn't have their own. They went.
That's why they had the War Chief.
Yeah, he came to them and said, "I'll give you time travel."
I'll give you time travel. Oh, okay, but I mean, the Time War affected all kinds of species. I don't think Sontarans had time travel, and yet they were still caught in the crossfire.
They always did. In the show.
Yeah.
The first time they showed up is the Time Warrior episode.
Yeah.
That's why they had.
It's just primitive compared to Time
Lords. It's a one person seat, big orb. I have the toy of it. And then like one person sits there.
Still, you can make a story. The Warlords capture one of the warring Time Lords out there. They take the TARDIS. They go ahead and just use that as some kind of shipping.
The only other time the Warlords were used as like main antagonists was this Timeline Exodus, because the War Chief is in it.
But not the Master.
No.
Because the Master's different.
Definitely the same character.
Totally different. Completely.
Well, to be fair, this is Terrence Dix. He likes to give two conflicting accounts, so he did it with Barusa. In Blood Harvest, is like, oh, this is how Barusa is freed. And then the eight Doctors is like, oh, no, this is how Barusa is freed. It's like, so which one was it?
All of
Terrence.
them. None of them.
Terrence, which one was it? You wrote both of them.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, okay. It's an aside that I'm right.
Go ahead and wrap this up. We have had an excellent time talking about the Star Beast. We're going to be back next week to discuss Wild Blue Yonder, an episode we only know has a big robot in it. And it looks That's all we know. We know nothing else other than that, and the TARDIS gets scared away. That's all we know. And I'm incredibly excited to find out what it is in just a couple days. 2 days.
Apparently, just a couple days. I thought I had to wait till Wednesday.
Nope. You get to watch it in 2 days.
That's how unplugged I am. I didn't even... I guess because we do this on Wednesdays. Oh, I have to wait until Wednesday now. I just trust you guys. You're my source of all information. And Jimmy, in theory, but
Who's Jimmy?
Jammy?
Jimmy
I
who?
think I mentioned him on the episode. Jammy.
Jeremy Dodger?
Yeah, that's his new name.
Schrodinger's
Jimmy Dodger.
co-host.
He dodges the episode, so he's Jimmy Dodger.
We thank you so much for watching. Oh,
Pixel ratings. We forgot
Oh,
to rate.
right. Landry, you go first.
I mean, I'm gonna give this one. Are we doing 1 out of 10? How do we do this? What is that?
1
Yeah, out of 10.
It's been a while. I haven't been here for a while. What's that? 1 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give this one a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9. It is really solid for me. I think that the Sonic Shield thing literally took me out of the episode for a moment. As much as I love the Sonic and everything he did with it, I get it. I just think that it was a little jarring. And I think that there are just a couple bits of pacing issues, probably. I'm giving it a 9.3. Really good. Just really good.
Truly. Yeah.
Pixel?
Chris? No. Chris.
Me? Okay, me. Well, I already gave it. I gave it 8.5. I might bring it down a little bit up to just 8. It's really good. I had so much fun with it, but I do have to take into account there are pacing issues. A lot of the messages that Russell was putting into it falls flat in the second half. It doesn't. I feel like someone should have consulted someone about like the messages he was trying to put in that second half. First half done well. It's just that second half. But regardless of that, it's a fun episode. It's Doctor Who. It's back. We finally got it back. And then we get it back next week. We get it back the week after that. And then 2 weeks after that, it's back for a Christmas special. They're back. And then sometime next year, we're back for a full series.
And there's going to be
It's so strange that we're coming back to consistent Doctor Who every year.
I hope they put the same level of they really bring back the heavy marketing push that we had back in the 2008 era, right around 2008, 2009, where the toys were just coming out like crazy. I mean,
entire sections of stores would just have Doctor Who.
Comic-Con would have its own Doctor Who booth that was really robust. When I walked by this last year and saw these, I'm still saying we need to do a live podcast Comic-Con. Do it.
If I can work it out, then yeah. No, just we have
it's
to figure
definitely
out.
not going to work for me. I will be out of the country. I will be somewhere
You're in
else.
Japan, right?
I'll be in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually going like mid-June to mid-July. So
my girlfriend and I fancied the notion of maybe both of us trying to arrange going to Japan for Star Wars Celebration, but we decided no. No.
So, yeah. I don't know what we're talking about, but yes, next week.
Oh, I guess that's my ranking.
Yeah, that.
So, I think it's going to be an 8 for me too, actually. So, I think that this is really good Doctor Who. But of these 3 specials, I think this is supposed to be what it is. It's bringing us back. This is Doctor Who at its core, and it's great as that. That's an 8. There are exceptions that go to 9 and 10. This is great as an 8. An 8 is fantastic. It's spectacular. It's amazing. Brilliant. But it's still an average Doctor Who story, and that's a good thing. It's a good.
Yeah, I've seen some people be like, "Oh, this is the best we've had of Doctor Who since 2009." I'm like,
no,
I'm sorry, you're missing out on like a lot of good stories in between then.
Yeah, it is. It's not the best. In fact,
it's not the best Doctor Who story of all time, but it's a fun stuff.
Fun. It gets such a high ranking for me because they pulled off something very hard to pull off, which is the return of characters that are gone in a where return of a doctor, a beloved doctor, and they made it work. This could have not worked.
Yeah.
And they against a backdrop of the show at its lowest ranking point in history, where the audience is primed to work against it, and they did it using controversial topics that will
make some people angry.
Right, and those people are always going to be angry, but they didn't shy away from that either. And I'm so glad. I didn't think Russell T Davies ever would. I'm so glad he didn't. And I think it gets a higher ranking than it normally would, because it managed to push the needle back where we want to see it. It's not the best episode. I mean, there's nothing is probably better for me than, say, Heaven Sent with Capaldi. Personal choice there, but this was Capaldi's episode was great without having to face any of those challenges. This gets points. This gets new points, bonus points.
Yep. No, I can't disagree with that. And so we say to the people that stuck around with us for an hour and 15 minutes, if you made it this far, you won. But please make sure to leave comments down below. Give us your rankings. Did you enjoy the Star Beast? Make sure to let us know. Like, comment, and subscribe. We will be back next week with Wild Blue Yonder. Do not miss it. You know we won't. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time, and Allons-Y.